Well, good evening, everybody. It's Sunday and time for a new episode of Record Collecting with a Quill. The episode this week, I named the episode Raiding Lund, and Lund is a town in the southern parts of Sweden. And I'll explain a little bit better after I've done the mandatory. Make sure you subscribe, hit the little notice bell, and also share with your friends. Well, as I mentioned in a previous episode, my daughter moved to Lund and is studying there, so I went there and made a little visit this weekend, and also found the time to visit a couple of local record shops. One called Vintage Vinyl and the other one is called Repeat Records. Well worth checking out if you're in the area. Found some cool stuff. So I thought I'd share with you. There's some really exciting stuff and some more or less not that uncommon records, but still cool to have. Starting out with this one, the first one. This is the first Baker Gerwitz album. I have the two previous, or the two later ones they did, but I've been searching for this one. Ginger Baker, I don't think he needs any sort of introduction. If you're into this kind of music, you know who he is. But the Gerwitz brothers are a little bit more, people are maybe a little bit more unaware of those guys. They had a band called Three Man Army, and they did 3 albums before they hooked up with Ginger Baker, and those albums are fantastic. I enjoy them a lot. So I was really happy to find this one. I've been searching for it for a while and found a really good copy of it. Haven't heard it, haven't played it yet, so I think this will be one of the first one I will listen to once I've finished with this. Next one, last episode or a couple of episodes ago I was discussing great B-sides, and I found a couple of really cool Iron Maiden 12 inches. This one, Phantom of the Opera Live, it's a couple of live tracks that didn't make it onto the Live After Death album, and also the Sanctuary 12 inch. Some great tracks here. You have Sanctuary, you have Drifter, you also have a great cover of the Montrose track, I've Got the Fire. I'm really pleased to find these ones. Some great tracks. Another artist, I think this is probably one of the last ones of his albums I've got now. I think I have most of his stuff in my collection, is Cat Stevens, Catch Bullet 4. He's one of those artists I remember vividly growing up. My father is a big fan of Cat Stevens, so we listen a lot to his music, so I'm really fond of his stuff. And it's good he's back in the scene again. He was away for a number of years, but he's back performing again. He's written some tremendous stuff, some great songs, evergreens if you ask me. And this is no exception. Great album. Next one is a band I've gotten into lately. I've been aware of them for ages. Riot from New York City. This is the first album, Rock City. I got the third album a couple of weeks ago, actually. I've been aware of these guys forever, but I've never really gotten into them. I think mainly because of the mascot, the baby seal. It looks really stupid, but once I got Riot Down Under album, got into it, and I think it's great music, great early hard rock. So I had to have this one. This is the first one. I think it's a Canadian pressing. Really cool, so I'm looking forward to get into this one as well. Great band, apart from a corny mascot. Next one is probably the one I was most pleased and the biggest, I think, bargain. I've been looking for this one for ages. It's the whole Bruce Springsteen Honeymoon Part 1 and Part 2 set, including the 7-inch as well. This is the full set from Bruce Springsteen's legendary performance in Gothenburg 1985. And I've been looking for these for they're not difficult to find, but I found them at a decent price, or a really good price, in great shape, and as I said, also with a 7-inch included. So this will be a lot of fun to listen to. It's 2 double disc sets with a great performance. So Bruce Springsteen, Honeymoon Part 1 and Part 2, including the 7-inch. Next one, another bootleg. The Who. Who's Next Outtakes. This is a single disc with a bunch of outtakes from the Who's Next sessions. Haven't heard them, don't know if the sound is good or anything. It's still sealed, so I will crack it open and listen to it. But it's one of my favorite albums, so it would be really cool to listen to outtakes and some cool stuff. Won't Get Fooled Again, and yeah, really looking forward to dig into this one, and a really cool alternative picture of the artwork as well. So a little bit cool one, I guess. Next one, Peter Gabriel. This is an artist I don't have any, I haven't listened to him that much. Of course, I'm aware of him and all the 80s stuff, the Sledgehammer stuff, and the stuff he did with Genesis, but I'm not too familiar with his solo stuff. I've listened to this a couple of times on Spotify, and I've decided to dig into his catalog a lot more. This one is produced by Bob Ezrin, I believe. Right? I'm looking, yeah, of course, one of my favorite producers, so it will be fun, and I will try to get more of his albums and sort of dig into his catalog and see what it's all about. But the stuff I've heard so far sounds really great. Next one is a band I've been listening to a lot lately, Little Feat. I think I mentioned them not so long ago. This is the Down on the Farm album. I believe it's the last one with Lowell George. I think it was released after his death, if I'm not mistaken. You tell me. Another one of those corny Little Feat covers, but don't let that hesitate you. They're still a fantastic band, and they made some great stuff over the years, which I'm really fond of. Ugly cover, cool band. Next one. This one is actually the second copy I've gotten of this album in 2 weeks. The first one I bought really cheap from some Facebook group, and once I got it home, it was a pressing error on the disc, so I couldn't play 2 songs, one on each side. I was kind of bothered about it because I really like this album, so when I found it, it's not that hard to get it. It's the Stills Young Band, Stephen Stills and Neil Young, the album they did together. Maybe not their best work, but there's still some great songs on it, and it's Stephen Stills and it's Neil Young, so what more can you ask for? 2 great guys in the history of rock and roll. So Stills and Young, Long May You Run, it's the name of the album. I also managed to get I bought 1 CD as well. This one, Bob Dylan, Shot of Love. I have this on vinyl, of course, but I had to get the CD just for 1 song, because I have the first version of the first edition of the vinyl, and it omits 1 track, and I believe it's the greatest track of the album. It's called "The Groom Is Still Waiting at the Altar." It was put on the CD issue and on the later pressings of the album, but my copy doesn't include that song, so I had to buy it. It was really cheap, so I have that song in my collection as well. Nonetheless, I think this is a rather cool Bob Dylan album, actually. I know it's not one of the critics' favorites, but I still think it's cool nonetheless. Well, that's it. That's the stuff I got from Raiding Lund. As I said, check out those stores. It's Vintage Vinyl and Repeat Records. You can find some really cool stuff there. They have some great stuff, of course. Well, I believe that's it for now. Make sure you follow the QUILL on our social media. It's the QUILL Sweden. We're doing shows now. In December, we have some stuff, more shows coming up with Evergrey, and we release a new album in January called Live, New, Borrowed and Blue. So check it out on Metalville Records. We'll be out on both CD and vinyl, of course. Well, that's it for now. See you all again next week with a new subject. Cheers for now. Sleep well. Hold on tight. See you all again next Sunday. Bye.